just pulled 13 shopping carts filled with shit up a hill for a living.
Comedian, radio personality, television host, actor, podcaster, and director. He hosts the Adam Carolla Show. The show is distributed as a podcast, which set the record as the most downloaded podcast as judged by the Guinness Book of World Records in 2011. He is here with us in the flesh, the one and only Adam Carolla.
Thank you.
Oh, no, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So get the homeless. Recruit them.
Yeah, I had a notion also. Well, LA's really bad with homeless. I don't know. New York's bad, but LA is really bad because the weather. I mean, there's just encampments everywhere. And also the cops in LA don't come out. Like if you call them, they'll just go handle it yourself. So I also had an idea about giving all the homeless people cop uniforms, and then it would look like we had this really strong police presence. but I don't know if it would work because it'd be like, what's that cop doing? It's like, he's throwing up into a dumpster. And then you'd go like, oh, yeah, maybe he's not a real cop. Anyway.
No, it wouldn't work at all. You get in trouble for that. I'm pretty sure. You can't just go buy a cop uniform. Don't you have to show something? I see these uniforms. I live in New Jersey, so they have these random uniform stores in these different places, and it's like the fire department, police department, nurses. I always wonder, can anybody just walk in and buy like I think you have to have something.
You have to show that you're actually like joining a department or something. You can't just impersonate a police officer.
Or that you're a stripper and you need a nurse outfit.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Adam is here to talk about his new comedy special, Not Taco Bell Material. Adam, where did you get this name from? Why did you come up with this name? We got to talk about the name first.
I wrote a book a few years ago called Not Taco Bell Material that was a New York Times bestseller. So it was like, people knew the name who knew me. I applied for a job at Taco Bell when I was in high school, when I was in the 10th grade, and they rejected me. So they were hiring, but they weren't hiring me. And it always stuck with me that you're not Taco Bell material. Like, I had lowish self-esteem growing up, but now it was at an all-time low because I was like, you're not good enough for Taco Bell.
What did they say to you? Like, what was the reason you didn't get hired?
They don't sit down and explore it verbally. They just go, we've rejected your application.
Is this the book that Tony Kornheiser read, you think? Because you and I were having a conversation about Pardon the Interruption before we came on air.
Yeah, Tony off the air because we were talking about it because I remember running into Tony at Jimmy Kimmel's house once at a party.
Really?
Yeah. Why would I make that up? So
no, you know what?
I'd say I ran into George Clooney.
Well, see, what it is that I'm a huge fan of Pardon the Interruption, and Mike Wilbon is always cracking on the fact that Tony Kornheiser doesn't hang out. He goes to bed really early. So the fact that you're saying that...
Oh, he was doing coke until like 4 a.m. I opened the bathroom door. He was doing it right off this chick's ass. So whatever he says he's doing something else.
Yeah,
man.
Tony.
Yeah. So somebody said to me, "Oh, that's Tony Kornheiser." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll introduce." And they said he's a big fan of yours, and I guess he read my first book, which was called "In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks." It turns out I was wrong. It was like 9 years, and we've all turned into chicks. But anyway, I think he read that book, and maybe he read Not Taco Bell Material as well.
Material. Okay, cool. Shout out to Tony. Well, actually, shout out to PTI. DB?
Yeah, Adam. So I was giving thought to this about how back in the day, comedians used to just focus on being the best stand-up, you know what I mean? Like being the greatest comic ever. And they would maybe do cameos here and there in film and TV and things like that. But then over the years, you saw more comedians wanting to aspire to be great actors and go straight into film and be like A-list, you know, Kevin Hart, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock. A lot of people went and had these huge film careers and comedy got left aside. You've kind of gone in these other directions with the podcast. You're a car enthusiast. I've seen you with Chip Foose. You know, you've done all these other things that aren't necessarily, I mean, you've done film. You did Road Hard. You wrote, directed, produced, and starred in it with David Alan Grier. So what kind of made you feel like, you know what, let me do what other people are not doing and then be successful in other avenues?
You know, I didn't have any conscious thought about doing what other people weren't doing. I just had thoughts of, well, what do you want to do? So I started doing a podcast, and then I started making documentary films, and I made some independent films. I made a boxing film called The Hammer, and then I made a stand-up film called Road Hard. But I like cars. I like racing cars. I have a bunch of old Paul Newman race cars, so I thought, I should make a documentary about Paul Newman and Paul Newman's racing career. So I made a documentary called Winning the Racing Life of Paul Newman, which is just about his driving career. And now I'm working with I'm working on doing a doc on, well, you guys, I guess, would enjoy this. The hat I'm wearing says Uppity on it, I think. It's the first black driver. I can't remember what hats I put on. Willie T. Ribbs, first black professional race car driver to race at Indy, and had to, sort of the Jackie Robinson of automotive racing was Willie, who's still around and a good dude if you ever looking for an interesting interview, hopefully when this movie comes out.
Absolutely.
But I just take subjects I'm interested in and go, why don't I pursue that? So I don't really have a set of criteria. I don't really look like somebody said to me once, an agent or manager, he said, what's the plan for your career? And I said, what plan? And he said, what's the plan? What's your plan? And I said, oh, I don't have a plan. And he said, why don't you have a plan? And I said, oh, I don't know. Maybe I should have a plan. My plan is to get up every day and go to work.
Yeah.
And make things that people would like to consume,
right,
that I enjoy. But it's, might be a stand-up special. It might be a documentary. It might be a podcast. It might be a book. And hopefully Tony Kornhauser can enjoy something.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just working on this movie with John Singleton, which was he wanted to do Uppity into a series on Showtime. So he got hold of the doc, and he thought, oh, this would be a really killer idea to do episodically, like as a series on Showtime. So I was working with the guys who did Billions on Showtime and Singleton on this. Obviously Singleton just passed, but we're right in the middle of working on this.
Where did the name Uppity come from? Like, why that name?
Well, I won't give you the full title that Willie wanted to give it. Willie named it Uppity. He wanted to do it Uppity N-word. He wanted to do the whole. He wanted to do the whole thing. I said,
that's a common thing that we say, in when people get fancy. And okay, I get it.
I said, well, we should just keep it at Uppity.
Might have to back away from it.
Right. You still want me to be a part of it.
I already got David Allen Greer not talking to me. I don't need his whole family not talking to me.
Oh boy,
so
funny.
He named it Uppity, and that's what they called him. And racing, he was racing in the South. He was racing NASCAR in the 70s and the 80s, and they'd fly the Confederate flag, and he'd be down in Talladega and all these spots as the only black race car driver in the entire place.
Wow, Tracy?
I'm wondering, with all of these directions that you've gone in, and it's just all under the umbrella of effective communication, but you make it look easy, which one has been the most challenging?
It's tough. I don't find almost any of it challenging. It's this system is challenging. And so what I want to say is, you do something like make a documentary or you make an independent film, and now you're stepping outside of your lane. People know me from doing radio or being a morning jock or whatever it is. And it's not that difficult to make a really good doc. Like, this is a really good doc. I've made other really good docs. The part that's challenging is infiltrating a world that doesn't really want you in it, So if you're Sundance, you don't want the jack-off morning show guy coming in with his documentary. You guys wear, you wear scarves when it's hot outside.
I'm dying.
You're all vegan. You're all super hipsters, and you don't want the douchebag man show guy showing up with his doc. Because
so it's a little elitist?
Oh, it's a lot of elitist.
Uppity, Tracy, uppity.
It's a lot of elitist, and they don't. I'm just sort of a goofball man show, morning show, radio show, guy, and I'm not in that world. And that world is pretty tight knit, and they're open to everything, but they're not open to sort of jerk off morning show, whatever, man show. I'm the man show guy to them, and they're not interested in my ilk.
That's why publicists are hired.
That's why you got to get a publicist, right?
888-742-3345. Adam Carolla is here. He's hanging out with us, talking. You can talk to him too. Call us up, Sway in the Morning, Shade 45. HASSY.com and on demand. So make sure you check it out. Also, you can call us up too and speak to him. 888-742-3345. Citizens, we have a lot of callers on the line. So just get your questions in and get them in quickly. We got Joe on the line from Cali. Joe, good morning. What up? Say what up to Joe. Adam Carolla.
Hey, what's up, Adam? I know you've been working with Dr. Drew for a long time, and, you guys take a lot of calls about sex and whatnot. What's some of the weirdest shit that you've heard in all your years doing that?
Oh, God. Mine. First off, I don't even know how deeply I can get into all the graphic and bizarre.
You could go deep here.
Stuff I've heard. Many years ago, there was a guy whose dog was having sex with him, which is different than having sex with your dog in my world. But women hate that story. But my feeling is if the dog's having sex with you, that's between you and your dog. I'm not interested in getting in between the two of you and policing that relationship. If you're having sex with your dog, that's a bigger and separate issue.
Yes.
So that was one of the dog's name was Brutus. That's all I remember.
No.
I told you it wasn't going to be pretty.
Joe, is that good for you? You okay now, Joe?
I'm all right. I shouldn't have asked, but thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
He's fucked up his day.
You're a citizen this way in the morning. I got Michael.
Well, first off, Joe, what did you expect? Like, one time this guy got a hickey from his girlfriend in junior high, and it took almost 3 days to go away, and he had to wear a turtleneck sweater. Oh, he was so embarrassed. Is that what you were expecting?
Joe gonna be messed up now when he go to work for lunch. He gonna be like, yo, so I talked to Adam Carolla.
He probably got a dog. He's gonna be sleeping with one eye open.
We got Michael on the line from the Bay. What's up, Michael? How you doing?
Yo, Sway family, God is good, people. God is good.
Amen. Say what up to Adam Carolla.
Adam, my man, what's going on?
How are you?
One of my favorite shows from you, it only lasted a couple seasons, was Catch a Contractor.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about one of the worst kind of episodes that you went through on that?
Yeah, that was a show where we sort of busted bad contractors, and I have a contracting building background, so me and my partner Skip would sort of come in and get these guys who were screwing over homeowners and bust them.
Wow.
And then make them do the work right, and all that stuff. I don't remember like who was the worst or who was the best or what the weirdest one was, but I will tell you there was one episode where we thought we were busting the contractor, but it turned out the homeowners were the cheats and the homeowners were the nutty ones and the homeowners were the cause of the problem. It's a two-way street because I used to do it. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of bad contractors out there. There's a lot of bad homeowners out there. Like, there are some people that want you to work for free and don't want to pay you for your materials or your time. Like, there are plenty of bad folks on each end of the spectrum.
That's good to know, man, because I'm in the process of having my home worked on now. So, and I'm like bitching, but people like, welcome to the world. So thank you for letting me know that, Adam. And take care, Michael. You're a citizen of Sway in the Morning. DB?
Yeah, you've been at the forefront of a lot of things early on, like with the podcast, way back years ago before everybody jumped on it and has one now. And I see that you're doing two documentaries, one called When We Went Mad about the Mad Magazine, but also one called Meme Gods. And now everybody has jumped on social media and sort of found a way to use it to their advantage, whether it's, making memes and becoming popular that way or, doing silly little funny videos and stuff like that. So what is your overall feeling about social media and how people use it, for comedy, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
I didn't know a lot about memes because I'm like a car guy, nut and bolt guy, carpenter guy, you know, like that world. So that's Cedric the Entertainer's project, and he brought it to us. And the Mad Magazine one as well, which was brought by somebody else. So we make a lot of our own docs in-house, and then we also will do your doc as well. Like, so Cedric brought it to us. That's his idea. And if you watch the trailer for it, I think you can go to Chassis and watch the trailer for it. It's really interesting, that world. It's a crazy world that guys are getting rich doing memes. Companies are paying guys to do memes and involve their products and get their logo out there like this. I was laughing. The reason I was laughing about this the other day because, you know, people are getting rich doing podcasts, they're getting rich making memes. There's like Instagram stars and stuff. I said, what the hell's career day like in the 6th grade anymore? You know, some chick get up there and go, would you like to be a dental hygienist? And somebody's just going to throw a chair at her, go, no, bitch, I'm starting my own empire at home, man. I got an iPhone. No, I don't want to work as an assistant this or fireman or garbage man or these kids. The worst thing about all this stuff is every kid thinks they're going to do it. Like when I was a kid, you'd go, what do you want to do? It's like, I'll be a fireman or something. I'll be something with the word man at the end of it. Or I'll get a job with my uncle's unfinished furniture factory selling furniture or assembling furniture. Now these kids all think they're going to be some internet star. They're jobs that didn't exist when I was a kid. And so these guys are out. I mean, my son follows a guy who plays Fortnite named Ninja, made $10 million last year playing video games.
Yeah.
And so my son's like, well, I'm not going to be a dental hygienist. I'm going to do that. Now, he's never going to do it. We all know that. But he thinks he's going to do it. And memes is crazy because these guys are out. It's a new expression of comedy. It's like a real-time short burst comedy and
instant gratification and all that. Right.
And these guys are getting rich doing it. And again, I didn't know that much about it, but Cedric got together with the director and now I'm an expert.
I have for you, Adam, some of the callers that called up spoke about this thing and spoke about that thing. And what I'm hearing and what I see in your bio too, you've done so much work. Do you ever take it personal when you get the call and it's like, oh, you know, we're not going to renew this season, or it's been canceled? How do you sort of pick back up and say, all right, I'll wait a little bit and I'll push on to the next project?
You know, what I sort of treat my career like a train, and I've got the train cranked up. Like I got the throttle full forward on the train. And my job is not to try to slow the train down, but to throw as much track out in front of it as I can. And it takes a while to get that track down. So, you know, you do a meme doc, you do a Mad Magazine doc, you do Uppity, you do a stand-up special, you do a podcast, you write a book. Some of this stuff you don't get paid for years or at all. I can't tell you if this doc's going to make money. I can tell you I've already spent $400,000 making this doc, but I can't tell you that I'm going to get $400,000 or more back for making this doc. I bet on myself, and it usually works out. But for me, the plan is, you know, a doc takes a year and a half, 2 years to make, and you put out $400,000 or $500,000 sometimes, and you don't get paid for 2 years. So you better make sure there's a whole lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, because you need to get paid on stuff that you did 2 years ago today. So for me, I don't really examine it that closely. I just go, throw the track out, get it as far out, try not to slow the train down, because that just means your career is, you know, you're downsizing. I don't want to downsize. I just want to diversify and throw that track out.
Drop a gem on him. Man, Adam Carolla, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. His new special, Not Taco Bell material, out now on chassis.com. Check it out, citizens, at CHASSY.com and on demand. Check it out. Adam, come back anytime, all right?
Thanks for having me.
Talent?
Yep.
He's up next. Celebrity Wire.